Hi everyone, this is Mr. Dave, and for this video what we'll be doing is actually going through the setup of a Raspberry camera. So we're going to start by heading off to the motion documentation. It's always good to have that open so that we can find various information. Documentation, configuration, and we're going to be doing the Pi camera. So when you install Motion via the distributed uh, packages, via Debian and other distros, it will not include an mmal capability. That's just how their distributions are actually put together. So you would have to actually set up the camera, the Pi camera, via a V4L2 device using this particular module associated with it. For the Pi camera that I have set up, I have installed that from our releases page, so we can actually use the mmal features associated with it. So I'm going to connect up to my Pi Zero. And this particular Pi Zero has previously been set up, and I just want to go in and actually show the parameters associated with the Pi camera. So the first thing you want to do with your Pi cam is to make sure that it actually just works using the Recipe Still software. Generally just to make sure that the been plugged in correctly, the cable's orientated, etc. So it has actually created the test JPEG here. If it doesn't, then make sure to enable it, enable the camera, validate that the cable is inserted orientated correctly, and once it is up and running and you can actually produce a test image, then we can go in and set it up via the motion. So we're going to edit our motion config file. And a short way down here is where you would actually specify the mmal parameters associated with the Pi cam. So there's two parameters that are particular to the Pi cam. This one is what you'll need to specify as the camera name. This is over in the documentation as well as the vc.ral.camera needs to be part of the specifications. And then the control parameters, which allow you to flip and rotate the Pi camera image. It's recommended that you use these parameters if they are available before actually using, for example, the rotate features within Motion, because this will actually use some of the hardware in order to actually do the flipping of the images. So currently for this camera I have it set up to do a horizontal flip, and we can actually close out of this. We can start up motion and go over and look at the image. And we see that I still have a permission problem on the log file. So we'll take care of that so that it can actually start up. For the moment, I'm just going to let it write to the syslog. This was previously set up to run as a service under the user ID of motion. It's actually going into daemon mode here. So we can actually see this is the image as it currently exists. And we've stopped the motion from going daemon now. And we'll go through and actually do a vertical flip. And that flips around the image. A lot of the messages that you may have seen here are more of the permission in that the previous setup of motion was actually to have this run as a service, so it was trying to put things into this cam directory, which actually has different permissions associated with it. So you may want to review the previous setup of motion for running as a service if it's not clear why it's actually providing these messages or how to actually eliminate them. So that's really kind of a basic setup of how to get the mmal camera or Pi camera up and running. Is just those couple of parameters that are listed out on the motion page or in the motion guide. And for when it's actually running as a V4L2 device, that's just like a normal webcam is how the Pi camera would appear. That's it.